Hello and welcome to this Hornby magazine DVD as we look back over the past year's highlights from the pages of Hornby magazine. We have exclusive video footage of the layouts featured and we recall the standout model releases from the past 12 months. Plus, we'll take you behind the scenes to show you our latest exhibition layout under construction, take you on a whistle-stop tour of the Great Electric Train Show 2015 and much more. Bridge of Muir featured in the June 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. Owned by Peter Midwinter, this stunning fine-scale 00 gauge layout is set in the West Highlands of Scotland and features an imposing 10-foot-long scratch-built bridge based on the prototype at Connell Ferry near Oban. Here, a Bachmann Class 37 approaches the bridge heading towards Bridge of Muir Station on the other side, hauling an officer's special formed of a single LMS 57-foot inspection saloon. Freight also provides plenty of interest on the layout, such as this Hellian Class 27, heading a rake of cement press flow wagons across the bridge and up the gradient towards the hydroelectric power station at the opposite end of the layout. Constructed using plastic section and brass channel, as can be seen, this impressive structure forms the main focus of the layout. Passenger services are in the hands of both steam and diesel traction. Here, a Hellian wagon and machine and bow rail bus gently negotiates the approach to Bridge of Muir Station. Meanwhile, a Bachmann BR Standard 3MT 262 tank approaches in the opposite direction, hauling a rake of 3 Gresley coaches. Bridge of Muir is DCC controlled, using NCE power cab equipment. Croydon North Street featured in the March 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. Built by Peter Sharps, this DCC-controlled 00 gauge layout is purely fictional, set within British Rail's Network South East Third Rail electrified territory in the 1980s and 1990s. Measuring 12 foot by just 18 inches, the layout packs a lot into a small space and features plenty of electric multiple unit passenger and freight activity. Here, a Network South East liveried 2 EPB unit arrives at the terminus, ready to form the next commuter train to London Victoria. Meanwhile, Pullman liveried Class 73 Electro Diesel 73101, the Royal Alex, departs on a northbound parcels working. Croydon North Street features a 2-platform station, together with a freight siding and a short gated link to a local freight industrial site, off-scene at one end, while the other end of the layout features a small electric multiple unit stabling and inspection point, providing light servicing to units and visiting locomotives on the branch, such as this Jaffa Cake livery Class 419 motor luggage van. As this blue and grey liveried 2EPB departs the carriage siding bound for the station, take a moment to appreciate the level of detail featured on the layout, including conductor rails, insulating pots, point levers, safety rails, retaining brick walls, street furniture, pavements, road signs, road markings, and even the yellow lines. And incidentally, did you spot the clever use of building blocks? Twelvetrees Junction featured in the July 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. At 34 feet in length, this is Hornby magazine's largest and most demanding exhibition layout to date, and features 00 gauge steam, diesel and electric traction all running side by side. All locomotives feature DCC sound, while some locomotives also feature DCC-operated smoke units, such as BR Britannia 70004 William Shakespeare, here seen featuring full Golden Arrow regalia hauling a suitable rake of Pullman cars. At the heart of Twelvetrees is a busy double mainline junction, offering plenty of operating potential. A 4-track mainline approaches from the London direction, which then reduces to 2 and then splits, with 2 lines heading into the station and 2 lines bypassing it. Freight and passenger trains feature prominently, like this steam-hauled engineer's ballast working, and Class 73 electro-diesel hauled rake of 20-ton coal hopper wagons, with the aim of always keeping something moving on the layout at all times. With Twelvetrees set in the South London suburbs, electric multiple units feature prominently on stopping and express services through the station, while steam and diesel traction also handle freight, parcels and longer distance express passenger trains. The electric multiple unit carriage sheds also add extra flexibility to shunt and swap units as required. Three cassette fiddle yards provide a steady stream of available trains to ensure something's always moving on this intensive 00 gauge BR Southern Region layout. All locomotives and multiple units have been weathered to create just the right atmosphere in this urban scene. Even empty coaching stock workings are included to give that authentic feel to the layout, such as this Southern 3-coach set hauled by Bachmann's E4 062 tank. In addition to the regular flow of passenger, parcels and van trains, a particular favourite is this double-headed Class 33 cement train as it snakes its way through the junction. "2015 was a busy year for new steam locomotive releases. Hornby in particular caught up on its backlog of projects and delivered its new double-O gauge Peppercorn K1 260 at the turn of the year. 4 versions were issued, 2 in BR lined black with early crests, 1 with a weathered finish, and 2 in BR lined black with late crests. Our review model was finished as 62024 in BR black with late crests. It was a return to form for the manufacturer, the model bristling with detail, including sprung metal buffers, separately fitted handrails, factory-fitted cab doors, separately fitted whistle, and much more. The model's haulage ability was equally impressive, as can be seen here heading a lengthy rake of box vans on Trevor Jones's Great Wakering, Flackwell Heath and Whitefield Garden Railway. Bachmann's new double-O gauge GWR 64XX 060 pannier tank touched down during January. 40 of these Collett-designed locomotives were built at Swindon Works from 1932. For review, we tested 6417 in BR black with early crests. As seen here on Hornby magazine's office test layout, this newly tooled model captured the look of the prototype well and featured separately fitted metal buffers, lamp irons and smoke box door dart. The cab also featured a fully detailed and painted firebox backhead, while inside the body shell, the mechanism operated smoothly and quietly with excellent motor control. Hornby's newly tooled double-O gauge Great Western Railway Hall Class 460 also arrived in the Hornby magazine office in January. This latest model was the last of the production items to be released from Hornby's 2013 catalogue, and as a result found itself included within both the railroad and the main range sections. Our review sample of 4953 Pitchford Hall captured the look of the prototype well. It featured many separately fitted parts, although some detail elements on this model were moulded. Performance of the new hall was excellent, the model proving more than capable of hauling a rake of BR Mark I chocolate and cream liveried coaches on Hornby magazine's office test layout. Bachmann delivered its double-O gauge London Brighton and South Coast Railway E4 062 tank in February. Designed by R.J. Billington, 75 were built at Brighton Works for use initially on London commuter traffic, eventually migrating to country areas following third rail electrification. 4 versions of the E4 form the initial releases in LBSCR Umber, Southern Railway Green, BR lined black with late crests and plain BR black with early crests. Our review model was this latter version, finished as 32556. First impressions were excellent. The chimney appeared just so, as did the dome and safety valve assembly. Separate lamp irons are fitted front and rear, and the model was supplied with Southern Region headcode discs, which feature slots in the rear to assist fitting them to the lamp irons. Fresh from the box, the model ran faultlessly and handled this 3-coach Southern Region Mark I set with ease. Hornby's delightful 00 gauge J15060 trundled in during February. This newly tooled model of a Great Eastern Railway prototype again represented a return to form for the manufacturer. The model featured a detailed die-cast metal body, aiding adhesion, with lots of fine riveting evident, plenty of separately fitted components, and a fully detailed cab interior. The mechanism was equally well defined, featuring twin flywheels, which helped the model run like a sewing machine. Our review samples included BR Black liveried 65356 with early crests and LNER Black liveried 7524, which was put to test on the Great Wakering, Flackwell Heath and Whitefield Garden Railway, as can be seen here heading a mixed goods train, which it handled with ease. Locomotion Models joined forces with Bachmann for its exclusive 00 gauge model of the stunning Ivat C1 Atlantic 442s. Introduced in the early 1900s, 94 were built by Doncaster Works for the Great Northern Railway. Locomotion's new model was announced in July 2014 and arrived in the Hornby magazine office for review during April this year. Our review sample of 251 was smartly turned out in Great Northern Railway lined green and featured crisp gold leaf coloured lettering and numbers. Even the running frame was elegantly lined. Paired with the Great Northern pattern tender, the model featured plenty of exquisite detail, such as separately fitted smokebox door dart, polished metal door straps, internal detail behind the opening smokebox door, detailed and painted cab interior, highly detailed motion, and a smooth running mechanism, which proved more than capable of hauling this rake of hand-built LNER teak stock on Trevor Jones's Great Wakering, Flackwell Heath and Whitefield Garden Railway. In the July 2015 issue of Hornby magazine, we went behind the scenes of Trevor Jones's Great Wakering, Flackwell Heath and Whitefield Garden Railway. Trevor opened his extensive garden railway to a select number of invited guests last summer to watch trains pass through his impressive array of flora and fauna. Ahead of these open weekends, he revamped a section of the track to rectify a hump in the track bed at the northern approach to the Great Wakering Creek Bridge, as well as revamp the garden beds at each end of the bridge too. In addition, scenery was completed around the new head shunt for Great Wakering, which had been installed in late 2014. The first of these engineering tasks saw 2 yards of track removed from the bridge and the old ballast cleaned up using a paint scraper and craft knife. A belt sander was utilised to remove just enough of the rubbercrete to flatten the changing gradient at the north end of the bridge, which had been causing the operational issues. Once the foundations had been sorted, the first piece of track was placed in position and the gradient checked with a digital level. Next, the track was replaced. Each length features copper-clad sleepers at both ends, which require the underside of the track to be cleaned before soldering. This is achieved by rubbing emery paper side to side whilst the rails are firmly held down. The first track was fastened down using stainless steel pins, while the plasticard gauges are used to position the second line parallel. Once the copper-clad sleepers were soldered in place on each length of track, the guide rails were then installed on the bridge. More copper-clad sleepers were installed every few inches with code 83 rails soldered carefully to them between the code 100 running rails. A walkway was then glued in place between the guide rails to complete this part of the makeover. Elsewhere, the main garden bed had been cleared and a new stone outcrop installed. To protect the track work, foam rubber was placed over it while this next task was carried out. Minor repair work was also carried out to the bridge superstructure, the track reballasted and then the track was cleaned ahead of the first test train running across the bridge. The purpose of this was to check for loose or stray ballast, which might potentially derail locomotives or rolling stock. Once the superstructure was glued in place, the surface of the pond and the bridge abutments were masked with card before the I-section beams and the centre columns were spray-painted. One final installation was a new building covering the point motor and electrical connections at the new Great Wakering head shunt. Lights were also installed inside the building. Here you can see a panoramic comparison, the top picture illustrating the project partly done, while the lower picture shows the completed project. Now complete, the task of running trains got underway. Here, a Johnson 240 backs out of the head shunt to couple up to a short stopping train. Ahead of it, an 060 saddle tank passes on a trip freight. Once clear of the section on the other side of the bridge, the local stopping service is given the right of way and is allowed to depart. In the opposite direction, a lengthy express train approaches, hauled by Royal Scot 460. With both trains passing on the newly completed bridge. The Royal Scot soon gathers pace down the bank as it approaches Great Wakering Harbour. While the local stopping service continues to meander through the garden. Once over the bridge and footpath below, the local passenger service picks up speed. As we approach Windmill Tunnel, the express passenger can be glimpsed climbing up to White Pit Summit and the 4-track section. Finally, a lengthy interregional train hauled by Gresley P2, Cock of the North, passes through the revamped section at speed. Dentdale appeared in the May 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. Inspired by the Settle and Carlisle Railway, Dentdale features elements from the line, including Dent Station, an Arton Gill and Dent Head viaducts. Measuring 19 feet long by 2 foot 6 inches wide, this stunning N-gauge layout owned by Wayne Webb, Bob Taylor and Tony Fraser is analogue controlled and can operate in 1950s and 1960s guise or 1990s and 2000s era. Here, EWS liveried Class 66, 66098, is seen approaching the viaducts as it exits the north entrance to Blearmore Tunnel, heading a freight train. Many of the buildings on Dentdale are scratch-built, utilising cardboard and plasticard, while others are modified kits. The impressive viaducts were built using plywood, cardboard and plasticard. Each section was then painted and weathered accordingly. As the Class 66 approaches and passes through Dent Station, a Northern Rail Class 156 DMU approaches and arrives with the stopping service. Bachmann's newly tooled 00 gauge Class 43 warship appeared in June. Built by the North British Locomotive Company, a fleet of 33 production locomotives entered service with British Rail's Western region. Finished as D835 Pegasus in BR green with small yellow panels, our review sample comfortably hauled a suitable rake of Bachmann and Hornby Mark I coaches around Hornby Magazine's office test layout. This latest detailed model includes directional lighting, 21-pin DCC decoder socket, and also features a representation of the engine compartment, which can be viewed through the side windows on the locomotive. A neat touch. Heljan delivered its 00 gauge Hunslick Class 05 060 diesel shunter in July. Our review sample represented Northeastern Region allocated example D2592 in BR green with wasp stripes. This intricately detailed new model features fine mesh behind the front radiator slats, together with handrails, grab handles, exhaust outlet, detailed cab interior, intricate marker light conduits, metal screw-link couplings and correctly set vacuum brake pipes, plus a set of incredibly fine-working head and tail marker lights fitted at each end, which light up according to the direction of travel, raising the bar for ready-to-run 00 gauge shunting locomotives. Here, our review sample shunts the yard on Hornby Magazine's office test layout, before hauling a lengthy mixed goods train on the main line with ease. One of the big surprises of the year was the arrival of London Transport Museum's exclusive 00 gauge model of London Underground's subsurface S-stock electric multiple units. Manufactured by Bachmann, the S-stock is available in a 4-car train pack containing 2 power cars together with 4 additional unpowered trailer cars available separately, enabling the formation of a prototypical 7 or 8-car set. Each unit features directional lighting and illuminated destination panels and captures the distinctive face of the prototype well with its deep driving compartment windows, and offers an impressive model of the units which have changed the face of London's subsurface lines. Heljan also completed its railbus trilogy during the summer with the release of its 00 gauge Park Royal rail bus, based on the 5 prototypes that were built for services on lightly used routes in England and Scotland. Finished as SC 79970 in BR green with cream lining and speed whiskers, our review sample featured destination panels set for Aviemore and Elgin. This delightful model captured the curved lines, flat roof and unique look of the prototype well, and incorporated plenty of detail, including finely moulded windscreen wiper, finely crafted curved metal bumpers, metal grab handles, extended passenger handrails, folding footsteps and directional headlights. Straight from the box, the Park Royal Rail bus ran smoothly and quietly throughout the speed range, offering a super model of a versatile and useful prototype. 2015 certainly proved to be a busy time for Heljan and fans of London's network of commuter lines, with the release of the Metropolitan Vickers Bobo electric locomotive for 00. Our review sample was finished as number 8 Sherlock Holmes in the simplified post-war London Transport maroon livery with grey roof and featured destination boards at each end set for Baker Street and Aylesbury, although this locomotive would only operate as far as Rickmansworth. Here, the model is put through its paces on Trevor Jones's Great Wakering, Flackwell Heath and Whitefield Garden Railway on a set of articulated suburban stock, together with a longer rake of 7 coaches to prove its sure-footedness on this taxing outdoor railway. Finally, rails of Sheffield's exclusive 00 gauge LMS prototype diesels 10,000 and 10,001 touched down at the end of August. Representing the prototypes as they were in the late 1940s and early 1950s, 10,000 featured its distinctive chrome LMS bodyside lettering, while 10,001 correctly features its plain black and silver livery without lettering. Despite appearing to be identical, both models displayed the many subtle detail differences between them, including roof panel arrangements and even different spacing of the roofline screws. Both featured cab interior lighting, a switch to select between freight and passenger directional headlights, and silky smooth operation throughout the speed range. And they proved more than capable of hauling a lengthy rake of coaches on Hornby magazine's office test layout. Bigbury featured in the September 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. Owned by the City of Canterbury Model Railway Society, this delightful 00 gauge layout is set in a fictitious 1950s location in North Hampshire on the edge of Salisbury Plain, and features an army depot with its own internal railway sidings, located at the end of a Southern Region branch line. The Army camp provides much traffic for BR's Southern Region, with troop trains and transportation of military hardware to and from the depot. Stock is representative of the period and features locomotives and rolling stock familiar to the southwestern lines, together with one or two visitors. Today, the branch line passenger service features Maunsell U1, number 31906, together with a set of former London and South Western Railway birdcage coaches. Bigbury Station features two platform faces, a run-round loop, cattle dock and associated sidings, which provide plenty of scope for keeping trains moving. Meanwhile, a former GWR Duke Dog departs with a rake of horse boxes containing military horses bound for the Didcot, Newbury and Southampton route. Military movements are undertaken by a recently arrived War Department Sentinel and an 040 diesel shunter. Here, the 040 shunts a rake of scratch-built wreck tank wagons, loaded with military tanks. Access to the exchange siding is through a set of gates, which operate automatically. The 040 propels the rake of tanks through the gates into the exchange siding before uncoupling and heading back to the depot. With gates closed and points set, a Drummond 700 060 arrives, couples up, and then heads off along the branch with the tanks in tow. West Riding Power features in Hornby magazine yearbook number 8. Set in the 1980s, this compact N-gauge exhibition layout was inspired by a new collection of power station buildings in Bachmann's Scencraft range of ready-built cast resin structures. The layout features a double-track mainline, together with a freight loop which serves the power station at the centre. A constant stream of merry-go-round coal hopper trains deliver coal to the discharge point as passenger and freight trains pass on the mainline. The first task was to mock up the buildings on the 6-foot 6-inch by 4-foot baseboard footprint. To add extra variation, a road with a gradient and river with rail overbridge were also planned at this stage. Off-scene storage is important, and to ensure maximum space is available, large radius curved points have been used for the 8 loops in the fiddle yard, 4 in each direction. The truss bridge was built at the front of the layout, featuring a base made up of evergreen plastic strip, plasticard and square section, with cross braces for strength. Pico truss bridge sides were then added. Motive power and rolling stock is made up of a wide selection of ready-to-run passenger and freight stock in appropriate 1980s liveries. The 1980s was an interesting time on the railway, as BR's corporate blue gave way to new styles, including large logo blue and rail freight liveries. Ballasting was achieved using Deluxe Materials Ballast Magic, a powdered glue which was mixed with Woodland Scenic's ballast and then carefully spread on the track, brushed into place, and then a mist of water sprayed over the powder-laden ballast. Much of the landscape contouring was formed using strips of cardboard and weaving them together to create a web. This was then stapled along the outer edges to stop pieces from separating during assembly. Then it was fixed in place with PVA glue, masking tape added on top, and gauge master plaster cloth then laid over that to create a hard shell, which was then painted brown using poster paints. Knock ready-to-plant trees were also added, together with ground cover, including mini-nature's static grass. Track ballast was then weathered, and attention turned to the riverbed, which was painted with dark soil textured paint, and a selection of coarse tufts and static grasses were added. Woodland Scenic's talus rocks and coarse-grained ballast were then added to the riverbed to represent stones and rocks, before layers of realistic water was poured on and left to cure to give the final desired river effect. All buildings were bedded into the landscape, and it was then time to test the layout with a series of realistic trains, including slow-running Class 56 hauled merry-go-round trains, Intercity 125 high-speed trains, double-headed Class 20s, and more to check clearances, tolerances, and running qualities. Operating colour light signals and a selection of N-gauge road vehicles completed the scene. You can follow the full build of West Riding Power in Hornby magazine's yearbook number 8. Hornby's prolific year of steam locomotive releases continued in June with the release of the eagerly anticipated London and South Western Railway Drummond 700 060. For review, we looked over 30693 in BR black with early crests. Hornby captured the austere look of the prototype well, capturing the distinctive overhang of the footplate ahead of the leading driving wheels, and the smokebox protruding forward of the saddle to reflect the design of these superheated locomotives. Here, the model copes admirably with the lengthy mixed goods. The model featured the correct number of lamp brackets for Southern Region headcode discs, representation of the inside motion below the boiler, sprung metal buffers, and a superbly detailed and decorated cab interior. Performance equalled its good looks and ran almost silently straight from the box, the wheels making more noise on the rails than the mechanism. Hornby's impressive-looking Crosty 9F 210 arrived during August and represents the first all-new railroad locomotive, as previous models such as the LNER P2 and BR8P were developed for both the main catalogue range as well as railroad. Our review sample featured 92027 in BR black with early crests and represented the prototype before the addition of a smoke deflector. A later smoke deflector fitted locomotive followed shortly after. Hornby's newly tooled body impressed with its finely moulded pipework, separately fitted handrails, glazed cabs and more. Its performance was exemplary and coped without issue on Hornby magazine's office test layout at the head of a lengthy rake of 16-ton steel mineral wagons. Representing a great starting point for further detailing projects, this was another fantastic release from Hornby. Kernell Model Rail Centre's long-awaited 00 gauge model of the London and South Western Railway Adams 02044 tank engine made its debut in late August. Oozing Victorian charm, this delightful new model is available in 7 different versions, representing both mainland and Isle of Wight formats, in standard and pull-push types. Our review sample was finished in Southern Plain Black with bullied sunshine yellow lettering, with Westinghouse air pump and pull-push equipment. Featuring finely moulded smokebox door dart, full complement of lamp irons, intricate pipework and much more, performance was equally impressive, with smooth and quiet running characteristics. As seen here on test on Topley Dale, hauling a rake of parcel stock, which includes Bachmann's newly tooled Southern passenger luggage vans, another standout release from the year. Hornby's newly tooled Maunsell S15 460 was the next model to arrive for review during September. Announced as part of the 2015 catalogue range, this impressive model appeared in Maunsell Olive Green, BR Black with late crests, and our review sample, which was finished in BR Black with early crests as 30843. Paired with a new version of the Southern Railway bogie tender with straight sides, the model was soon put to the test. With a full set of Southern Region lamp irons front and rear, the locomotive also features sprung metal buffers, fine smoke deflectors, separately fitted handrails, turned metal safety valves, a fully detailed and decorated cab interior, and much more. On test, the locomotive was loaded with a 27-wagon goods train, which it handled with ease. Not resting on its laurels, Hornby also delivered its Gresley D16 440 for 00. For review, we received 62530 in BR Black with early crests, E2524 in British Railways Black, and 8825 in LNER lined black. Each featured a die-cast metal boiler to aid adhesion and significantly meant that traction tyres were not required on this 440 model. Filling an important Great Eastern motive power gap, LNER liveried 8825 can be seen hauling a short rake of LNER teak stock on Trevor Jones's Great Wakering, Flackwell Heath and Whitefield Garden Railway. The year-end also saw Hornby release its newly tooled GWR Collet King Class 460. With a strong tradition of producing models of the GWR's extensive fleet of 460s, this eagerly awaited locomotive impressed. Our review sample was finished as 6029 King Edward VIII in BR lined green with late crests. Loaded with a rake of 6 BR Mark I carriages, it handled them with ease, a load which proved no match for this new locomotive's powerful drivetrain, looking the part with running qualities to match. Tedburn St Mary featured in the July 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. Owned and operated by South West Hertfordshire Model Railway Society, this highly detailed 00 gauge layout measures 16 feet long and is analogue controlled using Gagemaster and KPC controllers. Set in Great Western Railway territory in 1945 to 1948, Tedburn St Mary is a fictional terminus situated at the end of a branch line from Exeter St David's. Here, a GWR 060 pannier tank heads a passenger service for Exeter, formed of four-wheel coaches, as a single GWR railcar rests between duties in the bay platform. As train lengths have increased, so too has the station platform, although to accommodate the extra length, an unusual swing platform has been installed, which can swivel in conjunction with the level crossing when required to allow vehicles to cross the line from one side to the other. A Collick Goods 060 arrives on a goods service bound for the yard. Once clear of the points, the locomotive sets back and shunts its train of wagons into the yard. The yard itself features plenty of small details, including coal staiths, a horse and cart collecting sacks of coal, staff shovelling the coal from the wagons, shunters, discarded tools, and much more. Meanwhile, a GWR 060 pannier tank shunts wagons through the station area, across to the private yard of Durrier Hughes. As the gates open and the train proceeds, you can see arc welding taking place in one of the units. Much use of detail scenes is made on this layout. Finally, once the wagon's positioned on the wagon turntable, the turntable turns, so the industrial 040 saddle tank can collect the wagon and haul it into the factory building. Penhallock appeared in the November 2015 issue of Hornby magazine. Following this popular 55-foot-long 00 gauge layout's retirement from the exhibition circuit, it's been relocated to a new permanent home and modified to form a new U-shaped layout. Now measuring 32 foot by 13 foot at its widest point, Penhallock now features a brand new ex-Great Western Railway terminus at one end of the U and the original southern terminus at the other, together with a relocated fiddle yard in the centre. Here, Maunsell N-Class 260 number 31812 sets back into Penhallock Station and couples to its rake of coaches, before it follows the remodelled track formation through the exquisitely detailed scenic sections on its journey to the main line. An incredible amount of detail has been packed into this stunning layout. Note the signalman standing outside his signal box and plenty of figures in the station area, all adding to a busy atmosphere. Penhallock Station features 4 platform faces, a goods yard and sidings for stabling of carriages, together with a locomotive depot. Track alterations included the addition of another running line from Penhalick engine shed turntable back into a new covered side extension seen here, plus 2 more roads off the turntable. Penhalick also features a large selection of buildings throughout, all of which add great atmosphere, such as the dairy in the background, and are a mixture of handmade, kit-built and ready-to-plant structures which have been either modified, weathered or both to form a scene in their own right. Operating semaphore signals have also been installed. Here, the N-Class 260 takes the Bodmin Road line at Trakahn Junction and heads towards the Fiddleyard area. The line in the background heads to the new GWR terminus at Trakahn General. On October 10th and 11th, more than 4,500 visitors flocked to the Heritage Motor Centre in Warwickshire for a spectacular weekend of railway modelling at the Great Electric Train Show 2015. Come with us now on a whistle-stop tour of this year's show and relive some of the highlights. Hornby magazine's latest Engage exhibition layout, West Riding Power, greeted visitors at the top of the escalator. Built as the latest project for Hornby magazine yearbook number 8 and DCC controlled using Hornby's Railmaster software, West Riding Power represents a rail-served, coal-fired power station in Yorkshire during the 1980s and utilises Bachmann's recently released Engage Syncraft power station buildings, which form the centrepiece of this compact exhibition layout. Other displays included Graham Muspratt's stunning Southern Railway 00 gauge motive power depot, Fisherton Sarum, and Paul Wade's 00 gauge Tunbridge West Yard. Here we enjoy a driver's eye view of Tunbridge West Yard at the head of a Eurostar formation, hauled by a pair of double-headed Class 37s. Making a welcome return to the exhibition circuit, the layout represents a real location, situated alongside the Redhill to Tunbridge railway line in Kent. As well as the extensive engineer's yard, the layout also features stabling facilities for electric multiple units in the Jubilee carriage sidings. Tunbridge West Yard was awarded Best in Show by the Hornby magazine team over the weekend. Elsewhere, the park keeper's Sydney Gardens represented the ornate gardens in Bath, where the Great Western London Paddington to Bristol main line passes through. It is incredibly well detailed and featured a steady stream of authentic train formations. St Marnock Engine Shed is an imaginary location near Kilmarnock, owned by Mike Bissett. This stunning O-gauge layout featured a 3-road cathedral-style Glasgow and South Western Railway shed as its centrepiece, together with sound and smoke-fitted locomotives, adding that extra touch of excitement to proceedings. The Great Electric Train Show made good use of all available space at the Heritage Motor Centre to house this year's 65 stands, which included 27 layouts, 30 traders and a host of demonstrations in the expanded skills zone. Here in the main conference rooms we see Shipley Model Railway Society's stunning 00 gauge Leicester South GC, which is based on the real location just south of Leicester Central on the former Great Central Railway's London extension. All the trains operating on the layout have been researched from documentation, photographs and first-hand accounts. The goods yard was well used by local freights, with wagons marshalled and moved from one line to another by wagon turntables, as well as ropes and capstans in and around the large warehouse. Lincoln and District Model Railway Club's O-gauge exhibition layout Aysthorpe is a fictitious location on a secondary line somewhere in the East Midlands between Lincoln and Skegness. The layout featured a great deal of freight, as well as regular passenger service, as represented by this two-car DMU. Details, such as these operating level crossing gates, bring a layout to life. Here we join the freight service as it heads to the loop at Aesthorpe Station, bypassing the DMU. As our whistle-stop tour continues, we briefly call at Nick Skelton's Rumbling Bridge, set in central Scotland in the early 1960s, with its distinctive high-level signal box providing good vision for the line's signalman as a short passenger train passes through. Modern image railway modelling was represented to good effect on Widnes Vine Yard from the Wirral fine-scale railway modellers, set in the 2000s era. Based on a junction in the northwest of England near Liverpool, a wide variety of stock from 2006-2007 is used. The layout is DCC controlled using Digitrax controllers in conjunction with Railroad and Company software, offering a fully digital model railway, including operation of points and signals. Plus, all locomotives feature DCC sound. Manufacturers Bachmann and Hornby also attended the show, together with a wide selection of traders, offering everything from tracks and accessories to locomotives, rolling stock, hand-built models, weathering services, paint, spare parts, paintings, scenic items, and much more. Next, Redditch Model Railway Club's 00 gauge Oakenshaw shows to good effect the extensive use of buildings, accessories, scenic items, and the art of weathering. The layout portrays a Yorkshire mill town in a valley, centred on a river crossing. It also represents the layout during its short-lived northeastern region period. The layout can hold 24 separate trains in its 16-road fiddle yard to ensure something is always running. Oakenshaw was deservedly awarded the Visitor's Choice Trophy, receiving the most visitors' votes during the weekend. Hornby magazine displayed two layouts at this year's Great Electric Train Show. Shortley Bridge and Felton Cement Works, our 00 gauge exhibition layout built for Hornby magazine yearbook number 7, was situated at the entrance to the show, offering unique angles to view the layout, from ground level, on the escalators, or in the lift. Join us as we take you on a driver's eye view of the line from Shortley Bridge Station, headed by a Class 17 Clayton. The layout's been developed from the original Operation Build It terminus station, which featured in Hornby magazine. New sections have been added, including a viaduct scene and a cement works built from a Walthers kit. The impressive cement works handles short feeder trains of around 8 wagons, but generates plenty of traffic for the line. Inbound coal traffic is also represented, following the addition of a new off-scene section for the 2015 show season, together with new station and goods yard buildings. And that concludes our look at the Great Electric Train Show 2015. We hope you've enjoyed the show and this look back at some of the highlights of the past 12 months of Hornby magazine. And don't forget to make a date for next year's show on October the 8th and 9th, 2016. Keep an eye out for more details coming soon in a future issue of Hornby magazine. We look forward to seeing you there.